Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the depths of human experience, navigating the complexities of our collective past. Today, we embark on a journey to the trenches of World War I to explore one of the most pivotal and devastating battles in modern history, the Battle of the Somme. This cataclysmic event, which unfolded on the battle-scarred fields of northern France, would come to define the horrors of industrial warfare, leaving an indelible mark on the psyche of nations. The intricate web of entangling agreements and nationalist fervor drew major powers into the conflict, including Germany, France, Britain, and Russia. The early years of the war saw a series of bloody stalemates as armies on both sides became mired in the muddy trenches of the Western Front. In 1915, the Allies, led by French General Joseph Joffre and British General Douglas Haig, began to contemplate a grand strategy to break the deadlock. They sought to relieve pressure on the French army, which was bearing the brunt of German attacks at Verdun, and to draw German forces away from the Eastern Front, where Russia was struggling to contain the enemy. The solution lay in a joint Anglo-French operation aimed at piercing the German defenses along the Somme River. As we navigate the complexities of military planning, let us not forget the human element that drove these decisions. Men like General Haig, with his unyielding optimism and commitment to traditional warfare tactics, and General Joffre, with his calculated pragmatism, played crucial roles in shaping the fate of millions. Their personalities, experiences, and convictions influenced the course of events, as they wrestled with the daunting task of coordinating a massive, multinational effort. Throughout 1915 and early 1916, Allied forces undertook extensive preparations for the impending battle. British troops, largely composed of volunteer soldiers known as Kitchener's Army, underwent rigorous training, while French units, battered by months of fighting, struggled to replenish their depleted ranks. The Royal Navy, meanwhile, worked tirelessly to maintain a stranglehold on German supply lines, seeking to weaken the enemy through economic attrition. In the months leading up to the battle, British engineers toiled tirelessly, constructing elaborate networks of tunnels, trenches, and barbed wire emplacements. German forces, anticipating an Allied attack, fortified their positions with reinforced concrete bunkers and layered defenses designed to channel enemy advances into killing zones. The air was thick with tension as both sides engaged in a war of nerves, exchanging artillery barrages and probing attacks, each seeking to disrupt the other's preparations. As the summer solstice approached, the Allied forces finalized their preparations for the impending battle. On June 24, 1916, a 7-day artillery bombardment commenced with over 1,500 British guns and 1,000 French guns unleashing a torrent of shells upon the German positions. The cacophony of explosions shook the earth, sending tremors through the trenches as soldiers on both sides steeled themselves for the impending onslaught. The British commander, General Douglas Haig, remained resolute in his conviction that the bombardment would shatter the German defenses, creating a breach through which his infantry could pour and claim victory. However, the German forces had constructed elaborate underground bunkers, reinforced with concrete and steel, which allowed them to withstand the relentless barrage. As the British guns pounded the German lines, the defenders huddled in their subterranean sanctuaries, waiting for the inevitable infantry assault. On June 30, 1916, the eve of the battle, General Haig issued a proclamation to his troops, urging them to play the game and demonstrate the bravery and valor that had come to define the British soldier. At 7:30 a.m. on July 1, 1916, the British infantry emerged from their trenches, advancing across no man's land in a hail of machine gun fire and artillery shells. The Germans, having weathered the 7-day bombardment, sprang from their bunkers, manning their guns and unleashing a withering fusillade upon the advancing troops. The carnage was appalling, as wave after wave of British soldiers fell to the ground, cut down by the merciless fire. In the first hour alone, over 19,000 British soldiers were killed or wounded, their bodies strewn across the battlefield like autumn leaves. One of the most ill-fated units was the Newfoundland Regiment, which suffered 86% casualties within minutes of leaving their trenches. The regiment's commander, Lieutenant Colonel James Forbes Robertson, later recalled the horror of that morning, saying, "The men were simply wiped out. It was a massacre, pure and simple." As the day wore on, the British continued to feed troops into the maelstrom, each successive wave being cut down by the unrelenting German fire. By nightfall, the British had suffered over 57,000 casualties, including more than 19,000 dead, in what would become one of the bloodiest days in military history. The French forces, attacking to the south of the British, fared slightly better, capturing several key positions and incurring fewer casualties. However, their gains were limited, and the German defenses remained largely intact. As night descended upon the battlefield, the survivors huddled in their trenches, shell-shocked and stunned by the sheer scale of the carnage. The air was heavy with the stench of death, as the bodies of the fallen lay unburied, a grim testament to the unforgiving nature of modern warfare. In the days that followed, the battle continued to rage, with both sides trading blows and suffering heavy losses. On July 3, 1916, the British launched a renewed assault on the German positions, only to be repelled once more by the withering fire. The Germans, however, were beginning to feel the strain of the relentless bombardment, their supplies dwindling and their troops exhausted. As the battle entered its second week, the Allies began to make incremental gains, slowly but surely, pushing the Germans back from their fortified positions. As the battle entered its final stages, the Allies continued to push the Germans back, slowly but surely gaining ground. On July 14, 1916, the British launched a surprise attack on the German positions at Byzantine Ridge, using a combination of infantry and tanks to break through the defenses. The assault was successful, and the British were able to capture several key positions, including the village of Longueval. However, the gains came at a high cost, with over 9,000 British casualties suffered during the attack. Despite the progress made by the Allies, the battle was ultimately inconclusive, with neither side able to achieve a decisive victory. On November 18, 1916, the British commander, General Douglas Haig, called off the offensive, bringing an end to the Battle of the Somme. The final tally of casualties was staggering, with over 1 million soldiers killed or wounded on both sides. As one historian noted, the Somme was a battle of mud, blood, and futility, a grim testament to the destructive power of modern warfare. In the years that followed, the Battle of the Somme would become synonymous with the horrors of World War I, a symbol of the senseless slaughter and destruction that characterized the conflict. Today, the battle is remembered as one of the most pivotal moments in military history, a turning point in the war that marked the beginning of the end of the trench warfare that had dominated the Western Front for so long. The battle marked a significant shift in the way wars were fought, with the introduction of new technologies and tactics that would shape the course of modern conflict. As the British historian John Keegan observed, the Somme was the first battle in which the full fury of industrialized warfare was unleashed, a preview of the devastation that would be wrought by future conflicts. The legacy of the Battle of the Somme can also be seen in the many memorials and cemeteries that dot the landscape of northern France. The Thiaval Memorial, with its soaring arches and solemn inscriptions, stands as a testament to the sacrifice of the soldiers who fought and died on the Somme. As one visitor to the memorial noted, it is a place of haunting beauty, a reminder of the devastating cost of war and the enduring power of human memory. The battle marked a turning point in world history, a moment when the old certainties of the pre-war world were shattered by the brutal realities of modern conflict. As the historian Eric Hobsbawm noted, the Somme was a moment of reckoning, a time when the illusions of the past were stripped away and the true nature of war was revealed in all its horror. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.